Hello students, welcome to this class of TYBSc Physics. Let me first of all welcome all of you for selecting physics as a principal subject for your graduation. You know, physics is one of the important subject among the natural sciences. It helps us to study world around us, inside us and beyond us. Any new knowledge when added in physics, it forms the base for future technology. I can give you several examples. In the late 1960s, lasers were invented, and today we can find many applications in different fields of technology. You know, laser is light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So this is a phenomena in physics. And today the applications, if you see in medical, lasers are used in cosmetic surgeries, then in surgery of eye. In different industries also lasers are used as an important tool. Then another phenomena, that is radioactivity. So some of the elements, they gives out spontaneous emissions like alpha particle, beta particle, gamma rays. So these materials we call as radioactive material, and this particular basic phenomena in physics, nowadays it has number of technological applications. So radioactive materials, they forms a clean source of energy. Then some of the isotopes, they are also useful in treatment of cancer. So like this you can find a number of applications of radioactive material. Some destructive weapons are also developed by using radioactive material. uh, Other phenomena in physics, or you can say the invention of optical fiber. So optical fibers, they are based on a simple phenomena in optics, that is total internal reflection. So these optical fibers, they are nowadays a very important medium for communication, and they have some other applications in instrumentations also. So these are few examples where the new knowledge added in physics, it forms the base for latest technologies. So physicists are basically problem solver. Their analytical and uh, their analytical skills make physicists versatile and adaptable. So you will find physicists working in different fields of life or different fields. For example, physicists are working as a material scientist, they are working as a IT professional, they are working in energy sector, they are working as a material scientist, and so on. So you will find physicists working everywhere because of these qualities, their analytical skills and their problem solving abilities. Okay, so let me tell you about the structure of TYBSc Physics curriculum, which is prescribed by Savitribai Phule Pune University. So you know that this total academic year, you can say it is divided into two semesters, semester third and semester fourth. So in semester third, you are going to study six different theory courses. So you have to study six different theory courses. Out of these, first five courses are compulsory courses, and sixth paper, this one is elective. So for this course we have six options, and we are going to select any one of these course. And similarly in second, that means in semester fourth, similarly we are going to study six theory papers. Out of these, again five papers are compulsory and sixth one is elective. Again we have six different options, we are going to select any one of these. Apart from this, there are 3 laboratory courses. You can see course 1, course 2 and course 3. So these laboratory courses, they are based, they are having annual pattern, whereas theory courses, they are having semester pattern. That means the theory paper examination will be conducted in the respective semester at the end of the semester, whereas the laboratory courses, their examinations will be conducted at the end of the year. That means on the annual pattern. Okay, so this laboratory course 1, laboratory course 2, and a unique feature of this TYBSc physics curriculum, that is this laboratory third course, so which is a project course. So you are going to undertake a project work. It is totally for 100 marks, and you have to work throughout the year on that particular topic you have selected for your project. So this is very important feature of this curriculum. So this is a self-learning tool, and you are going to learn many things out of this particular project activity. So this is what the structure of this TYBSc physics curriculum. Now I'm going to teach you paper 4th in semester 3rd, that is atomic and molecular physics. So this is the syllabus of this particular course, which is prescribed by Savitribai Phule Pune University. So if you just go through this syllabus, you will find that so the first chapter is atomic structure, second chapter is 1 and 2 valence electron system, third is 2 valence electron system, fourth chapter is Zeeman effect, fifth chapter is X-ray spectroscopy, then sixth one is molecular spectroscopy, seventh is Raman spectroscopy. So if you just see this topic, most of the topics, they are related with the spectroscopy in the second part, and initially we are going to study some basic things, that is the atomic structure, and later on some of the examples, specifically 1 valence electron system and 2 valence electron system, their spectra we are going to study. Okay, so this is what the syllabus of this particular course, atomic and molecular physics. The university has prescribed few references for this particular course. Just some of the important references you can see here: Concepts of Modern Physics by Arthur Baeser, then Introduction to Atomic Spectra by White, then Fundamentals of Molecular Spectroscopy by C.N. Banwell and E.M. McCash, and the last one, that is Modern Physics by J.B. Rajam. So these are the references which you have to refer. Okay, now let us start with the first chapter, that is atomic structure. The first chapter, atomic structure. And in this particular chapter, we are going to study all these topics. So you can see here the topics which we are going to study are the Rutherford's model of an atom, then electron orbit, Bohr atom, energy levels and spectra, vector atom model, atomic excitation and atomic spectra. So if you see these topics, initially some parts or some topics may be a revision for you. So we are quickly going to take a review of all these basic things which are needed for further studying the atomic structure, and few new concepts also we are going to study, that is just like a vector atom model, or what is atomic excitation or atomic spectra and all that. All these things we are going to study in this particular chapter. Okay, so before before going to the actual first topic, that is Rutherford model, let us take a quick review. What are the early developments in understanding the atomic structure? So you can see here the early attempts by different philosophers or scientists to explain what is actually atom, or what is the structure of atom. So the first one you can just consider here is the Greek philosopher Democritus. So in the period of 460 BC to 370 BC, he was among the first to suggest the existence of atom. So Democritus has given the name atom, and which is taken from the Greek word atomos. So atomos means indivisible. So according to Democritus, uh, his opinion is that atoms are indivisible and indestructible. So it is the smallest entity of the material which is indivisible and which is indestructible. So these early concepts, these are only philosophy. This is only philosophy or some thoughts expressed about the atom or this entity, smallest entity. But later on, a very remarkable theory which was proposed by a British scientist, Dalton. In 1803, Dalton has proposed his model of an atom. But this particular model, the important feature of this model is that it is based on the chemical activities of the material. So as far as the chemical behaviors of the materials are concerned, from the view of this chemical behavior, he has proposed few important things. Nevertheless, these are some very basic important facts about the atom. Okay, so what are the different postulates of this Dalton's model of an atom? That let us just quickly go through. So first of all the elements are composed of tiny indivisible particles called atom. Then second important statement is that atoms of the same elements are identical. Atoms of any one element are different from those of any other element. So from the same element, different atoms are same. But if you consider different element, atoms of different element are different. Then atoms of different element combine in simple whole number ratio to form chemical compound. So this is a very important comment from the point of view of formation of compounds. For example, the formation of CO2 molecule. Okay, so one carbon atom and two oxygen atom. So these are whole numbers. So they come together in the simple whole number ratios to form a chemical compound. So that is what the important thing Dalton has mentioned regarding formation of compounds. And next one is the chemical reactions. Atoms are combined, separated, or rearranged, but never changed into atoms of another element. So all the time during any sort of chemical reaction, atom do not lose its original identity. That is what mentioned in this particular last statement. So this was the early thoughts or early theories, you can say. Later on, an important development in understanding the atomic structure was due to efforts taken by Sir J.J. Thomson. Sir J.J. Thomson, he has performed some important experiment regarding cathode rays, and he realized that there must be some negatively charged particles. So from the cathode rays, he has invented or he has predicted the existence of these negatively charged particles, which are named as electrons. Okay, so these because of this invention of electron by Sir J.J. Thomson and the facts known at that particular time, he has proposed a model in 1897, which was a very well-known model regarding the structure of atom, and it was known as a plum pudding model. Okay, so what is this particular model? So according to Sir J.J. Thomson, atom is having a spherical shape and a positive charge is uniformly distributed on this sphere. So this positive charge, you can call it as a pudding, and electrons are embedded in between. You can see this electron shown by yellow color. So electrons are embedded in between. So this is just a plum pudding. Okay, so a positive charge uniformly distributed on the sphere and electrons are embedded in between. So this is what the concept according to the scientist Sir J.J. Thomson. But this particular concept of an atom cannot be accepted, and very soon, because of some experiments performed by Rutherford, his well-known experiment, that is the scattering of alpha particles from thin gold foil. So Rutherford has performed these experiment, and the conclusions that came out of this experiment. So because of these conclusions, Sir J.J. Thomson's model could not be accepted. So let us see now what is this Rutherford's model of an atom, which he has proposed in 1911. So this particular model is based on the findings from the experiment of scattering of alpha particles from a thin gold foil. Okay, so this particular experiment, let us see first of all. So Rutherford has taken a source of alpha particle, which is just placed in a lead sheath, and these alpha particles, they are well collimated, and the beam of alpha particle is incident on a thin gold foil. So you can see this thin gold foil, and surrounding to this a sensor plate to receive the scattered alpha particle, or to detect the scattered alpha particle, it was placed. So it was a fluorescent material, just like a zinc sulfate fluorescent screen. So it is a screen placed surrounding to this thin gold film, covering all the directions. So you know that alpha particles, basically they are positively charged particles, and they are very much heavy as compared to the electrons inside the atom. Okay, so when these alpha particles are incident on the thin gold foil, if you assume Thomson's model to be correct, what we expect? So according to Thomson's model, the positive charge is distributed uniformly over the spherical atom. That means here, when the alpha particles incident on this thin gold foil, that means it will come across the gold atom, and this particular gold atom, since the positive charge is distributed uniformly over the sphere, so the alpha particles should be scattered in all possible directions. Okay, because positive charge of alpha particles and the positive charge on uniformly distributed on the spherical atom, so there will be interaction, and the alpha particles will be scattered, and they will be detected to all possible directions. So this is the possibility if you assume Thomson's model to be correct. But what is observed out of this experiment which Rutherford has performed? So what Rutherford observed, that when the alpha particle are incident on this thin gold foil, suppose these are the gold atoms and this is the beam of alpha particles. So what he observed, that most of the alpha particles, they travel in a straight direction. So most of them were not scattered at all, or very few of them, that is about 0.14%, were scattered to about 1%, or an angle of 1 degree. So this particular proportion is very less. The number of alpha particles scattered is very less. Most of them travel in a straight direction. So what is the conclusion from this fact? The conclusion is that definitely the positive charge is not distributed uniformly on the spherical atom as stated by Thomson. This is the one important conclusion. And another important fact that has been observed by Rutherford is that some of the alpha particle, in numbers you can say 1 out of 8,000. That means if you assume 8,000 alpha particles incident on this thin gold foil, 1 out of them, it was scattered in almost in a backward direction. So very large interaction was involved in that particular case. So why this happens? Why this happens, that particular definitely is an important thing to consider here. And from these results, Rutherford has performed this particular experiment, and uh, he has came to some certain conclusions, which is known as Rutherford's model of an atom. So what Rutherford has proposed, based on his experimental evidences, the atom is mostly empty space because very few alpha particles were scattered. So most of the space inside the atom must be empty according to Rutherford. Okay, so this is the first conclusion. And what is the next conclusion? All the positive charge and almost all the mass is concentrated in small area in the center, in small area in center. So he called this as a nucleus. This particular region he called as a nucleus. So the concept of nucleus, actually it was given by Rutherford. So the concept of nucleus, it was first proposed by Rutherford. Then the nucleus is composed of protons and neutrons. So all the positive charge and the chargeless particles, they are residing inside the nucleus. So this was the proposed by Rutherford. And the electrons, they are distributed around the nucleus and they revolve in a circular orbit and occupy most of the volume. So this was the just a model proposed by Rutherford from the facts that he has observed in his experiment of scattering of alpha particles from the thin gold foil. So this model, it was called as a nuclear model. This was called as a nuclear model. Why this is called as a nuclear model? Because so the concept of nucleus, all the positive charge is residing inside the nucleus and the electrons are distributed in different orbits. They are revolving about the nucleus. So the question actually, what Rutherford has assumed, that since atom as a whole is neutral, so the number of positive charges and the number of electrons inside atom are equal. So the equal number of electrons, they are orbiting in a circular orbit. So why he considered this concept of circular orbit? In order to give the stability to the atom, so that the electron will not be attracted by the positive charge inside the nucleus and will not fall into the nucleus. So for that he assumed that the electrons are revolving in a circular orbit, so the centripetal force will counterbalance the electrostatic force of attraction. This model is also known as a planetary model. So the positive charge in the center of the atom with almost all mass concentrated within the this positive charge nuclei, and electron, which is a negative charge particle, are attracted to the nucleus about which they orbit. So just like planets orbit the sun due to attractive force. Attractive force means in planetary motion the attractive force is gravitational force, whereas here in a nuclear model the attractive force is electrostatic force of attraction between the positively charged protons inside the nucleus and the electrons revolving in different orbits. So Rutherford has analyzed the results of his experiment, the scattering data he has collected in different directions. Not only that, the distance of closest approach, that means the alpha particle which can approach much closer to the positive charge which is residing inside the nucleus, and from that he has concluded the figures, that is the size of nucleus is of the order of 10 raised to minus 14 meter, and the size of atom, that is of the order of 10 raised to minus 10 meters. So you can see the size of nucleus is very much smaller as compared to the size of an atom. So rest of the part, that means other than the nucleus, rest of the part is an almost empty space, and electrons are orbiting in different orbits. So this is what the concept explained by Rutherford based on his facts from his experiment. Okay, but there are some difficulties uh, with Rutherford's model. So, what are these difficulties? So, since the electron travel in a circular orbit, it is constantly accelerated. So, you know that circular motion is an accelerated motion, and uh, according to the Maxwell's theory of electromagnetic radiation, whenever any such charged particle is in accelerating motion, so it should give out electromagnetic radiation. So electron is a charged particle, so when is it is orbiting, so it should give out electromagnetic radiation. So what will happen? The energy of this electron will continuously reduce because it is giving out energy in the form of electromagnetic radiation. So thus the electron has lower potential energy and move closer to the nucleus, and finally it may fall into the nucleus. So it is not a stable model. So thus classically Rutherford's atom is unstable. Classically Rutherford's atom is unstable. This is the important you can say drawback or difficulty associated with Rutherford's model of an atom. Then another difficulty associated with Rutherford model is that the spectrum, the kind of spectrum of different elements. So by the time different scientists, they have observed the spectra, for example the spectra of hydrogen, and it was observed that it is the spectra of hydrogen has a line nature. So different lines of certain wavelengths, they were observed in the spectra of hydrogen, not only hydrogen but in different elements. So this is actually slightly against the results of Rutherford's model or the facts that were mentioned in Rutherford's model. So if you assume Rutherford's model, then the electron, it is continuously emitting energy, and just earlier we have seen the motion of the electron. So the radius is continuously decreasing. So the angular frequency is continuously changing. So whatever the electromagnetic radiations given out, their wavelength is continuously changing. Their wavelength is continuously changing when they are performing the motion. Okay, so the radius is continuously changing. So the electromagnetic radiations which are given out by the electron, they are of continuously different energy. That means different wavelengths. So there is a variation in wavelength in a continuous manner. So what we expect, that the spectra in such case will appear a continuous spectra or broad spectra. But what was observed, that the spectra of different element by the time observed, it was a line spectra. So we have just discussed that as R decreases, the emission wavelength changes continuously. So this model predict that emission spectrum of an atom is a broad spectrum or continuous spectrum. But sharp spectral lines are observed and not a continuum. So this is what the difficulty associated with Rutherford model. So this is how Rutherford's model is not completely accepted. But nevertheless, Rutherford's model has given some important facts regarding the structure of atom. He has predicted the size of nucleus, he has predicted the size of atom, and he has also given a new concept, that is the concept of nucleus. So these are some important achievements of the Rutherford's